What is the name of the following compound? W3N2. So first we need to figure out who W is. W is tungsten, and it's within the transition metal block, which means that I need to give myself a set of parentheses to remind myself that I need to do some math to figure out what charge tungsten is in this particular instance. But I'm going to go ahead and finish naming the compound before I do this anion versus cation math. So N is nitrogen. Nitrogen is a nonmetal, so that means I'm going to have that anion suffix change. So this will be tungsten something nitride. And I need to figure out what this something is. To do that, I'm going to do my anion versus cation math. My anion is the one that's in the second position. My anion is the nitrogen. Its subscript is 2. Nitrogen is in column 5, which means it has 5 valence electrons. It has 5, it wants 8, so it's going to steal 3. Stealing is bad, so I have a charge of -3. 2 times -3 is -6. Equal and opposite of -6 is +6. Tungsten's subscript was 3. 3 times what is 6? 3 times 2 is 6. Now all I need to do is translate this Arabic numeral into a Roman numeral. And the Roman numeral for 2 is II. So tungsten 2 nitride is the name of that compound. What is the name of the following compound? COCl. So first I need to figure out who CO is. CO is cobalt. It is within that transition metal block. So that means I will need to give myself a set of parentheses to remind myself that I need to do math, and I'll continue naming the compound. Cl. Cl is chlorine. Chlorine is a nonmetal, and it is my anion, so that means I need to change the suffix to ide. So it will be cobalt something chloride. And now I just need to do my anion versus cation math to find the oxidative state. My anion is chlorine. Its subscript is invisible, so that means it's a 1. Chlorine is in column 7, so that means it has 7 valence electrons. I have 7, I want 8, so I'm going to steal 1. 1 times -1 is -1. Equal and opposite of -1 is +1. Subscript for cobalt was 1. 1 times what is 1? 1 times 1 is 1. Going from Arabic to Roman is just an I, so I will have cobalt 1 chloride as my name for the compound. Name the following compound, V2O5. First I need to figure out who V is. V is vanadium. Vanadium is in that transition metal block. So that means I need an oxidative state, so I'll give myself a set of parentheses to remind myself that I need to do math. And then O. O is oxygen, oxygen being a nonmetal, and my anion is going to get its suffix changed, so this will be oxide. So this is vanadium something oxide. And now I need to do my anion versus cation math to figure out what the oxidative state of vanadium is. My subscript for my anion, oxygen, is 5. Oxygen is in column 6, so that means it has 6 valence electrons. It has 6, but it wants 8, so it would steal 2. Stealing is bad, so the charge of -2. 5 times -2 is -10. Equal and opposite of -10 is +10. Vanadium subscript is 2. 2 times what is 10? 2 times 5 is 10. So this is vanadium 5 oxide. Identify the cation and the anion for the following compound, MOS. My cation is always going to come first, so that means that MO, which is molybdenum, is my cation, and S, which is sulfur, is my anion. Identify the charge of the cation and the anion for the following compound, Cu2S. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what the oxidative state is for copper, which is my cation. So I can do my anion versus cation math. My cation is going to be the person that's in the first position. So this is copper. and my anion is in second position, so that is sulfur. My anion subscript is 1. Sulfur is in column 6, so that means it has 6 valence electrons. It has 6, but it wants 8, so it's going to steal 2. So 1 times -2 is -2. Equal and opposite of -2 is +2. My subscript for copper is 2. 2 times what is 2? 2 times 1 is 2. So I need to identify the charge. These parentheses, the things inside of the parentheses, are my charges. So my anion's charge is -2, and my cation's charge is +1. What do the Roman numerals in parentheses represent? So as an example, I'm asking what this represents. Tungsten 3 oxide, what does that 3 mean? That is the charge of my metal. So that is the answer that I would select. Identify the Roman numeral that would be used for the following compound, PdCl4. So I need to go ahead and start naming this compound. So Pd is palladium, and it is in that transition metal block, so I do in fact need my Roman numerals. And Cl is chlorine, and then it being my anion is going to get its suffix changed to "ide." I need to do my anion versus cation math. My anion is chlorine, its subscript is 4. Chlorine is in column 7, so that means it has 7 valence electrons. I have 7, but I want 8, so I would steal 1. 4 times -1 is -4. Equal and opposite of -4 is +4. Palladium has a subscript of 1. 1 times what is 4? 1 times 4 is 4. Arabic to Roman numeral 4. This question specifically was just asking me to identify the Roman numeral, so this would be what I would put in parentheses IV parenthesis for Roman numeral 4. Identify the Roman numeral that would be used for the following compound, CrO. So first I need to go ahead and start naming that compound. Cr is going to be chromium. It is in that transition metal block, so I do in fact need those Roman numerals. Give myself parentheses to remind myself I need to do math. O is oxygen. It's a nonmetal. It's my anion, so I do need to change the suffix to "ide, so this will change to oxide. Now I need to do my anion versus cation math. My anion is oxygen. Its subscript is 1. Oxygen is in column 6, which means it has 6 valence electrons, so it has 6, but it wants 8, so it's going to go ahead and steal 2 electrons. 1 times -2 is -2. Equal and opposite of -2 is +2. Chromium subscript is 1. 1 times what is 2? 1 times 2 is 2. So my Roman numeral is 2. So for the answer, I would just go ahead and say parenthesis II parenthesis for my Roman numeral for chromium oxide.